if you are a snowbird,
Yes.
and you are on Medicare,
What happens? What do we do?
oh my God. Well, there's a couple of things you got to do. So number one, original Medicare plus Medigap or Medicare supplement for maximum flexibility. What do we mean by that?
So realistically, what that kind of gets into is that when you have Medicare plus a Medicare supplement, you're going to have the greatest bandwidth for coverage, meaning that with original Medicare and your Medicare supplement, you're not going to run into a network. So as long as the doctor takes original Medicare, bills original Medicare, you're good. So you don't have to worry about being out of network. And so that's why that has the greatest flexibility, because it doesn't matter if you're in Michigan or if you're in Florida or California or Arizona, wherever it is, as long as the doctor takes Medicare, bills Medicare, you're good.
Welcome to episode 9 of the Brad Mike Show. Episode 9, we're going to talk about snowbirds today. Not chickadees or juncos that you would typically see in your bird feeder this time of year, but those people who go south for the winter, or west, I guess. Some people do go to Arizona, I suppose, or maybe California.
Doesn't sound like
but
much
in
fun.
Michigan, usually people are going to
Florida.
Yeah, Florida.
Florida, baby.
Some people. I have friends who retired to Mississippi.
MISSI, SSI, PPPI.
That's exactly how. That's
Nice.
exactly. Plus, you have to sing it when you say it.
I'm not good at singing.
Well, you can say it though.
I'm a
all
singer.
that said, snowbirds are those people who travel those months of the year.
They go look for warmer climates.
Yeah,
I get it.
Totally.
We have friends that pretty much Octoberish, they head on down and come back around April on a consistent basis. And I get it. I mean, if you like to have a little bit warmer weather, but my goodness, being down there in the summer, not happening. No, please make a note of it.
Pass.
No.
No, I understand. This time of year, and today, I know tonight we're scheduled to get 3 more inches of snow on top of the 6 inches we got the other night, and then Sunday even more. And I understand when it's nice outside, and there's steel drum music playing in the background. You're sipping on a margarita out on the beach. Okay, yeah, I get that. But so if you are a snowbird,
yes,
and you are on Medicare,
what happens? What do we do?
Oh my God. Well, there's a couple of things you got to do. There's actually a list. We're going to go through 10 points to remember if you're a snowbird. And, these are things that you got to realize, So number one, original Medicare plus Medigap or Medicare supplement for maximum flexibility. What do we mean by that, Michael?
That I can touch my toes without bending my knees?
Sure, absolutely. That's your flex, but let's stick to Medicare. let's not run down that rabbit hole of Michael's flexibility.
That's a dad joke
from all
for
your
you.
hockey days.
Exactly. So realistically, what that kind of gets into is that when you have Medicare plus a Medicare supplement, you're going to have the greatest bandwidth for coverage, meaning that with original Medicare and your Medicare supplement, you're not going to run into a network. So as long as the doctor takes original Medicare, bills original Medicare, you're good. So you don't have to worry about being out of network. And so that's why that has the greatest flexibility, because it doesn't matter if you're in Michigan or if you're in Florida or California or Arizona, wherever it is, as long as the doctor takes Medicare, bills Medicare, you're good.
And
your network.
Quite honestly, most doctors are going to bill Medicare.
Yes, they
otherwise you would exclude a whole demographic from your patient base.
Well, then most people don't like old people.
I understand that. It's all a state of mind. That being said, having a Medicare supplement / Medigap plan gives you the greatest flexibility for coverage no matter where you are. So if you are traveling, if you're the kind of person who has an RV and you take off and you go on a big long road trip half the year, Medigap may make a lot of sense for you. That said, within Medicare supplements or Medigap plans, what plan is the most comprehensive of all?
G.
Plan
I don't
G.
know. Oh, no, G. Yeah, Plan G.
Yeah, Plan G. Plan G is considered the top choice for snowbirds because it covers all Medicare Part A costs, nearly all Part B premium coinsurance, providing predictability when seeing doctors in different states.
The only thing that you're going to have is going to be your Part B deductible, which has to be satisfied. That's going to be the only thing that you're going to have with the Part G, plain and simple. I mean, that's for people that enroll right now, moving forward. So some of you may actually have older plans with Medicare that actually do cover the Part B deductible, but anybody else that's kind of aging in right now will not have that.
So and I can anticipate the people out there in podcast land who are listening or watching this podcast and say, well, why wouldn't everybody take a Medicare supplement or a Medigap plan? And there's one reason for that.
Cost.
Typically cost. There's a monthly fee associated on top of your Part B premiums. And for some people, that cost can be untenable.
Sure it is. And that's why I always say to people, look, you're going to either pay through premium, so you're going to pay the insurance carrier, or you're going to be paying the doctor. So if you're okay paying the premium, which, if that happens to be the case, by all means, get a Medicare supplement, because it's going to have the least amount of exposure on the back end that you possibly can have, because you're going to have your original Medicare plus your supplement. It's going to take away pretty much everything except for, let's say, on that Plan G, which would basically be that deductible. Now, there's other plans that are out there that have a little bit more exposure to that, and they do cost less money. So the less coverage you have, the lower the actual premium is on those plans.
Well, then let's just stick along that vein of thought, premium. And often what dictates an individual's choice when they're aging into Medicare, they're choosing a Medicare plan, an Advantage plan over a supplement, it is cost.
Sure it is.
So you can still have a Medicare Advantage plan and be totally covered if you're a snowbird.
You can. The most important thing that you got to remember
is raise the finger. Yes, the fickle finger of fate. Go ahead.
Network.
So
what are you dealing with it? Yeah. So if you
HMO as opposed to a PPO.
Yeah. Absolutely. Because the most important thing you got to remember is whether or not your doctor is going to be in network. Well, if you're traveling and you're going to be down in Florida versus here in Michigan and you have an HMO plan, well, chances are you might be without coverage when you're actually down in Florida. Now, that's just for general, I'm seeing my doctor, I'm not feeling well, that type of thing. It's not if you're involved in some type of an accident, a bad car accident, or you get really sick and you have a heart attack or a stroke or something like that. That's a different story. I'm talking about just strictly, hey, I'm going to see the doctor because, I need a checkup, or I'm, low on my medications and I need to get a refill and that type of stuff. So be aware of that. With your PPOs, those are going to give you much more greater flexibility. Plus, some of the carriers are going to have nationwide networks, so it doesn't really matter where you happen to be at. The other aspect of it, though, too, is as long as the doctor is willing to bill the PPO carrier, let's say if you're in Florida, you're good at that point in time. Good, so just be aware. Which
actually naturally, I'm going to skip ahead here, naturally segues into the reason why I have this with me. Is,
your handy dandy notebook.
Put everything in either a folder like this, or keep it digitally. List of all your medications, a list of all your doctors.
Yes.
Double check before you choose. If you're always spending time in the same place every year in Florida, come on, you know who the doctors are going to use, where they are as it relates to geographically where you're staying.
Yep.
Put all your ducks in a row and put them all in a book and keep it with you.
Check your network. So meaning that when you're looking to move, let's say you have a certain plan that you've been on for a number of years and you've been good with it and everything else. Always check your doctors, not only here locally, because that's really where you're going to focus most during annual enrollment, but make sure that your doctors that are going to be down in Florida, wherever that might be, are in your network as well. So don't get caught short at that point and pick a plan that is only going to have coverage basically for your doctors here in Michigan. And then you go to Florida and now you're like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Which, that kind of brings it up to the next point as far as with something like that when you talked about your medications.
Yeah. Yep. So you want to make sure, hey, first of all, mail order 90-day supply.
Yes.
If you're going down for 2 months, if you're going to go down for, December and January, and February, and you have a 90-day supply, well, then you're good to go.
Yeah, right? Make sure that you take some. Yeah. But what happens if you don't have a 90? Because in some cases, you might be on a certain medication that might have they only give you so much every single month, or you can't get it through mail order. What happens then?
Well, then you can always contact your pharmacy.
Okay.
Contact your pharmacy, call your doctor, call your Medicare plan.
Yep.
Right?
Ask for an emergency fill because
you can
may
ask for an emergency fill.
Yeah,
That's right.
you
That's
might
just
be
what
in
I was looking down at my notes here, and in an emergency refill, just enough to get you through
Yes.
till you get back.
Well, that's important because what can happen though is that you get down there, you could have left your medication at home. You could have left your handy dandy notebook at home. Who knows what that situation might have to be. But if you have a route that you can go, because believe me, people forget things all the time. And with that being the case, this is at least a way for you to make sure that you have your medications while you're gone. Now, it could be that you're gone for 4 or 5 months. Well, again, back to the network. Make sure that the doctor that's down there that you see is in network, and then have them write a prescription for where you're at down there as well. So
yeah. So that being said, so again, confirm network access in both locations. We kind of touched on that.
Yep.
And that you want to double check on that. Use a national pharmacy. Use a CVS.
Yes.
You just use a national pharmacy.
That's very helpful too. I mean, I know that a lot of people have familiarity or they have loyalty to their local.
Sure.
And I understand that completely. And that doesn't mean that you can't use them when you're here, but make sure that you have the capability for nationwide access in regards to when you're out of state. It makes sense. So just be aware of that, because if you're having your prescription filled at your local pharmacy and they're not nationwide, well, make sure you have your 90-day supply if you have the capability to get that, or make sure that you have enough to get you by until you get back.
Right. Now, let's say you're in Florida and you're out at a restaurant and you don't feel good and you feel like you're coming down with something.
I ate the shrimp.
Well, exactly. Got a bad batch of shrimp or stone crab claws. The utilize the telehealth is
sure.
Look, these programs, these products include telehealth. And look, I know that people are like, no, I want to see the doctor. Telehealth is so easy to use on your phone. And don't even for a second tell me you don't have a smartphone, because everybody has a smartphone these days.
You got
unless you're a secret spy guy, you got a flip phone burner, you got an iPhone or a Galaxy or something. You've got so you can utilize I know, right? You can utilize.
I got a dumb phone.
Yeah, well, sure, Bob. Not to disparage those of you named Bob out there in podcast land. We'll just call you Richards. But no,
that's better.
That's better, right?
Jeez.
That being said, utilize the telehealth for those circumstances where you don't need to go in and see a doctor.
Well, you're actually still
save yourself some time and effort.
Well, in many cases, you are actually seeing a doctor, but they just
I mean, physically getting up and going in,
yes,
and crowding up at an urgent care facility because you have a sniffle.
Well, yeah, I mean, at that time, and the other thing too is that you may run into a scenario where it's like, hey, you come back, you're not feeling well, but it could be like an upper respiratory infection,
sure,
where you kind of know what you have because maybe you've had it a number of times. A lot of people get them when they travel, just because they go from one climate to another. And it's like, hey, look, I need a Z-Pack or whatever because now my upper respiratory infection gave me a sinus infection. Okay. Yeah. If you're not kicking it, do it that way. I mean, if that keeps you kind of out of the doctor's office and you keep on doing what you need to do, then by all means do it.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you pull a Julia Child and you say, I seem to have cut my finger, and they're squirting blood, go to the emergency room. Don't use telehealth for that, right?
Well, they'll tell you to go into.
Yeah. So, just be aware. You gotta see, it's like the label on things.
Is my finger bleeding?
Yeah,
it is.
And then update your address and stuff if you're going to be there for an extended.
Well, if you're going to, I mean, the update of the address kind of comes into play as if you're in those types of areas for a much longer period of time and you kind of have moved. Make sure that you update your address, because in some cases people, may end up just staying down in Florida and have sold their places. I mean, with stuff being done all electronically now with DocuSign and things over Zoom calls, you may end up changing. And that might be one of those types of things that you have to be aware of as well, because once you update your address, the key for you at that point, especially if you're on a Medicare Advantage plan, is you may have now your residency is in Florida. You need to change your plan.
That's correct.
So,
and just be aware of that. And I know a lot of people who, again, they've decided, we just like it down here better. As you get older, and I totally get that. The weather's, warmer. And so.
Well, we have friends that basically had rented most of the time and then they bought a place. So that's a different story altogether. I mean, it's one thing to rent, but now you
just
actually
be
have an address.
cognizant of that. Mm-hmm. So again, for those of you out there who happen to be watching the Brad and Mike show and this specific episode on snowbirds, and you are a snowbird, just be aware of these are some pretty much common sense things, but can often be overlooked. And I understand if you're going down towards the holiday season and there's so many things going on and you got family and food, it's easy to let these things slip past you and not take advantage of the preparation that we're warning you for.
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, you got to be aware. It's a lot different when, in the past, probably during your working years when you had some vacation to be utilized and you might be down for a week or 2 weeks. Being down there for 2 or 3 months is a whole different ball of wax versus just being down there. And I think, by you having, as you had showed as far as the, folder, having your doctors, having your medication, it's very, very helpful at that point in time, especially if something does happen to you where, you may not be able to say, hey, I'm on this med, I'm on this, I'm on that. Having something like that could be very valuable at that point in time, especially to a healthcare provider so they have a better understanding of what medications you're on, maybe what some of your past health history, some of your local doctors. I mean, nowadays you can obviously find a lot of that stuff out, but when time is of the essence, having something like that is very, very helpful.
Yeah. So, that concludes this episode of
the Brad and Mike Show.
The Brad and Mike Show, Medicare Snowbird, episode 9. Mm-hmm. So we appreciate you watching. If you are watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe.
Yes.
And you can always give us a call here at 734-259-6750. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.